Good evening, everyone. It is 5:30, and the Cleveland City Schools Board of Education meeting will now come to order. First item on the agenda is to have Ms. Lily Hakes to lead us in a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance. Thank you, Ms. Hakes. Ms. Wheeler, do we have any public comments?
We do not.
No public comments today, so we'll move on. But before we get started, I want to take the time to welcome Ms. Lynn Voles. She's the Executive Director for BCPEF. With her today, she has Mr. Andrew Nipper. He's with Lake Forest Middle School, and he's a LEAD Fellow. He wasn't able to join us when they visited us last month, so I want to welcome him today. As always, we like to welcome Mrs. Hakes. This is Lily's mom. And also we have Ms. Danielle Seals, the Cleveland Bradley Chamber of Commerce tonight with us. And then we have Dr. Lawson and his class from the from Lee University, and they're the doctoral students. We have 5 of them with us. So we want to welcome everybody here. We have other guests with us, and we'll be talking to those and welcoming those later on in our agenda. All right, so the Cleveland City Board of Education is committed to providing a high-quality education to all students and to working collaboratively with the community to achieve this goal. As chairman of the Cleveland City Schools Board of Education, I'm committed to running an orderly and an efficient meeting. I'm committed to treating everyone with respect. Board members will be provided equal voice for all matters and should communicate through the director of schools for addressing his staff. Here are a couple reminders for parents and the community. The Board of Education policies can be found on the clevelandschools.org website. When there, just simply click District Board of Directors and select Board Policies. Our meetings are not public forums. However, the board has made accommodations for a city resident, a Cleveland City Schools employee, or a parent, guardian of a Cleveland City Schools student to address the board in a couple different ways. Those can be found in School Board Policy 1.404, which includes 2 options along with the requirements listed. Those options being appearing before the board via pre-meeting requests or addressing the board on agenda items via same-day requests. We'll move on to our consent agenda. Board members, are there any items on the consent agenda that you would like removed? All right, board members, I'd like to entertain a motion for the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have Matthew Coleman and Peggy Pesterfield. Ms. Wheeler, please call the vote.
Renee Diamond.
Yes.
Matt Coleman.
Yes.
Carolyn Ingram.
Yes.
Andy Lay.
Yes.
Peggy Pesterfield.
Yes.
Jody Riggins.
Yes.
Nate Tucker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We'll move on to our regular agenda, and first on the agenda tonight is the Director of Schools contract review. Board members, you receive a copy of that contract, and do you have any questions, comments? All right. Going once, going twice? All right, I would like to entertain a motion to accept the contract as presented.
So moved.
Have Carolyn Ingram,
Second.
Renee Diamond. Ms. Wheeler, please call the vote.
Matt Coleman.
Yes.
Carolyn Ingram.
Yes.
Andy Lay.
Yes.
Peggy Pesterfield.
Yes.
Jody Riggins.
Yes.
Nate Tucker.
Yes.
Renee Diamond.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Congratulations, Dr. Elliott.
Thank you all.
All right, next on the agenda, we have a director's update.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We have Great update to share with you tonight. Always exciting things happening in Cleveland City Schools. And I just wanted to start off with just a reminder of some of the 4 components that we really look at as we talk and move forward. And we've shared from the very beginning, the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, just emphasizing these 4 core components of what we're about. And the first one is ensuring student academic success is an important piece, obviously, as a learning institute that we're about. Our second focus area is ways that we can support students and families with the services that we provide. And that's a huge range, I know, for public schools to do, but we do stay focused and we are intent on looking at ways to connect with the students and families in special ways. The third piece that we always focus on around our what we're about here is creating a clear culture with communication. Always inspecting ways that we can improve our communication. That is internally, but also externally as well. And then the last one is making sure that we recruit, develop, and retain highly effective employees. And that's a key piece. And I just wanted to start our evening tonight, just a reminder about our focus. And as we meet with our staff, as we meet with families, or even out in the community, this is what we talk about. The highlights for February, we had a lot of great things happening in February. We had 2 breakfasts with the boards during the month of February because we had a snow opportunity back in January, which bumped that. We met over at Stewart in February along with Yates most recently, so that was great. We had a couple of facilities meetings during the month. The annual spelling bee over at Cleveland Middle is always a big event that went into probably the longest one in history that anybody knows about for that. And so I think Brandy called out about, she was the pronouncer, 177 words that afternoon, so pretty incredible there. We honored our CMS wrestlers over at City Council during the month of February, and a lot of the great things happening with our wrestling program. We'll talk more about that a little later. District teams gathered here from the Southeast region, not on February the 5th. That's when it was scheduled, but really it was a little later, but we had a lot of people here for that. And a tremendous staff development day across the system. Shout out to our academic team for coordinating a huge conference-style event with our own employees, offering over 30 different sessions for our staff to go and be trained up, and did a phenomenal job, and it was well received too. The TSBA Legislative Conference was held on February the 16th and 17th. A few of you I know went to that. And then last week I was in Nashville along with BCPF team and the lead fellows. A tremendous week last week over in Nashville, meeting with the state board, meeting with Tennessee Department of Ed, with our legislators, with our TOS representatives. So a tremendous event. And thank you to Lead and to Megan Ellison, too. A shout out to her, part of the BCPF team, for getting that organized. Upcoming events in March, we have a team over in Nashville, over at Belmont, for the SCOPE conference this week. The big day is tomorrow, and there'll be high school students will be over there presenting at the SCOPE conference. And then later this week, I'll be in Nashville for the Legislative and Learning Conference with TOS. And also, we have several members from our staff going to be at the Coordinated School Health Conference in downtown Nashville as well. We have several presenting and representing Cleveland City Schools on all the great services. Again, talking about those components, student service is one of them. We have a few of our people actually presenting at that state conference, and proud of that. Spring break, everybody I think is aware, is coming up the following week, next week. A special evening on March 17th. You might want to mark your calendar. Raider Palooza. That's an 8th grade night. That we bring all our 8th graders over to the high school and highlight all the tremendous scheduling opportunities for our students and the options that they have. They can walk around and see the clubs and the classes that we offer at Cleveland High School. So invite people to come out for that. March 20th, on a Friday evening, our Elementary Honors Chorus is going to be performing over at Conn Center. That's a special evening that across the board, all our elementary schools come together and perform. It's about a 30, 40-minute concert, and fill the Conn Center up with some amazing, talented young people presenting songs from all different aspects, and each music teacher helps lead out in that, so a fun event there. Some more another breakfast with the board coming up at Candies Creek, March 24th, with a facilities committee board retreat scheduled March 27th, and then an elementary system-wide PE celebration of movement is at the arena. A lot of big events happening during March, and after spring break, obviously, all our spring sports, family nights, concerts, plays coming up, so a busy time ahead. As I mentioned earlier, a shout out to our wrestling team again. Last 2 weeks ago, they were in Nashville, and the girls and the boys won the individual competition over there, and several individual state champions. And we'll recognize those more in a spotlight version in the future, but it's Easton, Senna, and Caroline from the girls group came in first and led the way, and then our boys state champions, Jose, Dominique, Kellen, Braxton, and Gabe, and congratulations to all our wrestlers doing a tremendous job over there. We had a few other individuals that we wanted to recognize tonight. First of all, we had Emily Howard and Annabelle Alcock with Mr. Vasher's class. I just wanted to point this out because our students do some incredible work, and it's always good to highlight some of these. And they had an opportunity to enter a competition, national competition, and what they did is they highlighted, they were studying about Alexander Hamilton, and they entered a competition, and they won, and they get to go to New York City and get to attend the Broadway musical, Hamilton, and then also have a backstage opportunity to meet the cast and have some time there. So congratulations for them and winning that. As I mentioned earlier, we had our CMS Spelling Bee back in February, and Alberto won his second year in a row, the Spelling Bee, and did a phenomenal job there. And then last week, this year, our Cleveland High School team, sponsored by In Person, took a group over to DECA, and this is our Cleveland High School's first time to take a group that I know of, and they did a tremendous job. And we have Carter Castile, who was a winner and getting to go to the International Career Development Conference later this summer to take his winning ways and hopefully continue his winning ways at the International Career Development Conference this summer. Just a few pictures here of our breakfast with the board, as I mentioned. Also, last week, I do want to point out, we held an Apple Education Summit here, right here in this room, for different education leaders. We hosted that, just highlighting all the great things happening. Apple has actually come into all our schools and provided professional development for us and helping us lead the way and lead the charge, and we were glad to be able to host them. The last thing I wanted to mention is kindergarten registration is going on online live now. So anybody out there that has kids ready to come to kindergarten, you can get online and sign up. We're excited on the last Saturday of the month to welcome those families to Raider Arena. We start out keep the end in mind, right? So we're going to graduate at Cleveland High School in the arena. So why not come and begin your first entry in Cleveland City Schools where you're going to graduate. So kindergarten registration, that big event is coming up the last Saturday of March. So if you're out and about in town that day, stop by and see all the fun activities going on. That's my update for the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Ellett. Don't go anywhere, though, yet, because we got Spotlight next. So we'll turn it back over to you to go over Spotlights.
Here we go. Spotlight. Our first Spotlight is our School Resource Officer recognition this evening. Always a fun event for us to do and an important event. And I've asked Mr. Eason, who helps us keep everything straight there with the SROs. So Mr. Eason's going to share some information with us tonight.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Board, for letting me come before you tonight in order to recognize some very special individuals that work within our school system in every school, basically. The men and women that serve as our SROs do a fantastic job of building relationships with students and with staff. They also work very hard in order to make every school as safe as absolutely possible. We have several of them with us tonight, and what I wanted to do was call them up individually. I'm going to go in alphabetical order by school, call them up individually, ask them to line up in front of you there, and then I believe Brandy's going to take a picture of them as well with you all in the backdrop as well. Okay, we're going to start off with Arnold Elementary. We have Officer Mason. Blythe Bauer Elementary, we have Officer Ratcliffe. Candies Creek Elementary, fresh from retirement, we have Officer Harris with us. He's come back to join us. From Mayfield Elementary, we have Officer Cochran. Ross Elementary, we have Officer Ledford. Stewart Elementary, we have Officer Vassy. Couldn't be with us tonight. Yates Primary, we have Officer Cleveland. From Cleveland Middle School, we have Officer Milam and Officer Spence. And then from Cleveland High, we have Officer Bronze and Officer Gannell. I also wanted to mention that we have our SRO supervisor, Officer Warner, with us tonight as well. So I'd ask him to come up as well. These guys do a great job. Guys and ladies do a great job for us, and we really appreciate all that they do. So let's get a picture real quick. Thank you, folks.
Mr. Eason, may I just say a word of how fortunate we are?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say how fortunate we are to have a group of people like this who represent our school system and do what they do for our children. And personally, I know several of them because they've worked for me and go to church with one, and I just appreciate them so much and what they do for us.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. They're a fine group, very easy to work with, and always there for us. And can't say enough about all that they do for us. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all of you as you're here tonight before you head out. Appreciate the relationships you build with our staff, obviously there, but and our students and being there, but also being ready to go at any given notice, any moment that we have. And I know we've had those moments, and we always can depend on you to step up and help us out. And some of you guys have those moments more often than others, I know. And so, but I appreciate all that you guys do. Thank you. Our next spotlight tonight is our school spotlight, and it's Yates Primary, and Miss Melissa Bishop, our principal over at Yates, is going to come and share some spotlights regarding Yates Primary.
All right. Who are we at Yates Primary? We are a very diverse group. This year, we represent 8 countries, 8 native languages, and 25% of our students are ESL, attend ESL classes. As you can see from the demographics, we continue to be more and more diverse as we progress through our years. This year, our target for our entire school was to have 80% of our students in grades K through 2 reading on or above grade level by the end of the year as measured by iReady. And some of the ways that we chose to target that were not necessarily how could we add things that would take up extra time in the day, but how could we target those in creative ways. And so these were some things that we came up with that enhanced the school day but didn't require more time for teachers. We've added books in the gym, so when students come to school in the morning and they're waiting in the gym for it to be picked up, there are books for them to read. Each day, the birthdays are celebrated, and they get to come to the office and pick up a birthday book if it's their birthday. Over the summer, we had a summer reading challenge where if they met these challenges, for example, read a book under a tree, read a book with your sibling, those types of things. When they came back, if they brought their paper back, they got to choose a book from Cleveland's own bookmobile. Each month, we have a science literature class, which helped in numerous ways. It helped with the science standards. but it also helped fill the need of how can we get another rotation in our schedule so that teachers can have common planning. So we have linked up a book that matches a science standard, and students are in that class for an hour with a certified teacher that's going through the book and doing different activities that also link to the science standards. Most of the times it's a hands-on project that they just really enjoy. Our master schedule, we were very intentional about our master schedule this year. We have the core math and skills in the morning. We have RTI in the morning. In the afternoon, we have recess. We have specials, and then we have the knowledge block. So we were very intentional about what was in the morning time when students are at their peak performance. One of our family events, Bingo for Books. How can we get more books in the hands of students? In addition to the birthday book that they get, we had students winning several. I think I talked to one little girl, she won 25 books. It depends on how many family members you bring and how strategic they are. The one that won 25, I said, I'm going to give your mom a lottery ticket, because every time I turned around, she was bingoing. But that's our most well-attended event, and parents love it because they can come. Students win books. They get a water and a popcorn, and it costs them nothing, and it's a nice family event for about an hour and a half. Second grade reading challenge, we sort of borrowed from Ross. And Ross's fourth grade and fifth grade have a reading challenge where they are challenged to read certain genres of books by the end of the year. We made ours a weekly challenge where if they read 2 books and they provide a summary to their teacher, we have Lunch Bunch on Friday to reward those students, and they have really enjoyed it. We probably have 40 to 50 students a week that get to do that, and each week starts over, so if you didn't get it the first week, you might get it the second week. We've added an additional intervention block because we found some of our ESL students were not able to attend intervention with the time that it was, so we carved out an additional time for those students as well. So we're hoping that all of these, being very intentional about our focus, will pay off. Some data just to show where we're at in that process. When we started the fall, we had 26% of our students, that's K2, early on or above grade level on our ready in reading. At the winter benchmark, we had doubled that, and we're now at 53%, which was an additional 57 students. If we do that again, we will hit our mark. And I will say we were close last year. We were at 75%. So teachers are very motivated to hit that mark. Some other things that students get to experience at Yates Primary this year, a lot of new things. Our teachers were very invigorated over the summer and came back with great ideas. Our PE teacher hosts an after-school run club weekly. Kids love to attend that. He's very creative, whether it's in the gym or outside. We have an after-school STEM club. We have a morning broadcast that occurs on Fridays. Our second grade students host that. And some ways that we are recognizing the students. We have already quarterly challenges. For example, if they meet their goal for the class, sometimes it's a class party, sometimes it's individual recognition, just trying to recognize students for the hard work they're doing. We also have a character trait student of the month, where one student from each class is recognized. A monthly attendance reward. We have that second grade weekly reading challenge and the birthday books. We're getting ready to start Rocket Ready, where teachers nominate second grade students that they feel are rocket ready. In other words, they're ready for third grade. They're ready to go over and meet that school, and we have a list of traits that they have to meet for that. And then this year we also had the arts grant that students participated in, where we brought in, we had the African drumming grant come in. I wanted to highlight our STEAM experience because this year we did apply for STEAM designation, and we were awarded a site visit that will happen the first week in April. STEAM class occurs twice a week. We have project-based learning tied into the reading curriculum. Again, there's another way we're getting our reading tied into other ways. This week for Read Across America, we have a guest reader that our STEAM teacher has coordinated with for each day that has a spotlight. Not only are they reading, but they're also spotlighting their career. We had a STEAM family night that focused on fairy tales. That STEAM family night's always very well attended. I believe we have 10 stations where kids just come and have a good time. And you can see the corner picture there. It was one of the events. Our STEAM club also hosted a food drive. And then, again, they're also in charge of the morning broadcast. And lastly, that's We Are Yates. This is anything you might could see if you visit Yates on a day and during the week. Questions?
Thank you, Ms. Bishop. Any questions for Ms. Bishop?
No questions, but I have a couple of comments, if you don't mind. First, thank you so much for having us. It was wonderful to be with you. I just wanted to say how important I think it is that as we move forward, knowing that a K-2 school doesn't really get the accolades of like TVOS scores or blue ribbon scores and those sorts of things, that I hope that we can look at Yates as, you know, a primary feeder for Ross and make sure that the teachers there feel recognized for the hard work that they're doing to prepare students for third grade. Also, I wanted to say I'd love to hear if you guys meet your 80% challenge.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear that. And finally, just a reminder, I'm so proud that you guys had that arts grant, and our Cherries Jubilee is a big fundraiser for that arts grant. That's going to be on April 10th of this year, and so I certainly urge everyone to come out and support our schools that day, and also encourage our schools to participate by making an entry into that event.
Thank you.
Let me say that, Melissa, Ms. Bishop, I have told her on several occasions that Yates is my baby, and so I have to check in with her quite often. I love to go by and see the children and the teachers. Most of them are gone now, but Melissa's doing a great job over there, and I really appreciate what she and the teachers are doing, so thank you.
Those are the spotlights for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Ellett. Next on the agenda, we have summer programs overview.
All right. Mr. Adam Moss, who helps us coordinate all things intervention and summer academic programming, is coming here to share an update on what we're looking at for this year, but also kind of reflecting a little bit on some information from our results from last year as well.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to be invited to come tonight and share with you the exciting news about summer 2026. And before we do, I'll talk about summer 2025. Last year, I stood before you and shared some different approaches we were taking, some local pre and post test data. And I think, Ms. Diamond, you may have even asked me to come back and share the results of that. And I'm happy to share we have really great news. So first and foremost, for a student to learn in a summer program, they have to show up. So we took all of our data from pre and post tests, attendance, and staffing surveys and compiled it into one large data source and used some of our tools to disaggregate the data. We had an average daily attendance of 575 students in the month of June, and that is a strong number compared to much larger districts across the state. When we look at the pre and post test data, there were some significant academic gains during the month of June. We recorded 85% of students either improving or maintaining their ELA proficiency in grades 3 through 8. And in mathematics, nearly 90% of students maintained or grew their math skills. In the K-2 world, where we put that really large focus on foundational reading skills, we were able to see significant growth in key areas, in particular a 6% increase in oral reading fluency and more than a 6% increase in vocabulary as well. What I appreciate about our State Department's post-test is that it covers the wide range of standards from the whole entire year. What we can do with our local pre and post-test is really drill down to the specific skills that we were focusing on during that time. So in the graphic on the screen, you can see we had 62% of those students increasing in their ELA skills over those 4 weeks, 22% maintained. And when we drilled down to the students who declined, those were the students whose summer attendance were not up to par with the others. Same story in math, 50% grew, 36 maintained, and the small amount who declined were kids who did not come to our summer program. In the K-2 world, it's a little different because the state post-test is the exact same reading screeners that we give in the spring. It's true apples to apples. And so we saw very specific targeted growth in foundational reading skills, particularly the ones that can grow in short bursts of time, like fluency and vocabulary. We recognize reading comprehension as a skill takes much longer to grow than 16 days will allow, but we still saw positive growth. Outside of the academics, summer is a big world of culture. Staff and students from across the district coming together, essentially building a brand new school from the ground up every year. And so we really rely on fantastic summer staff and their feedback to help drive this program. And by and large, their experiences were very positive, as reflected in their surveys. We are grateful for community partners like the YMCA Summer Feeding Program. They served over 10,000 meals to our students this summer. And we had 17 bus drivers who drove routes all across our district to make sure every student who needed a ride had a ride. So let's look ahead. We have a few more weeks in the school year, and we're very excited to get ready for summer 2026. Our high school has its traditional summer programs of credit recovery, and we are several years into our Rising Ninth Grader programs, where we offer struggling rising ninth grade students the opportunity to come to campus, gain some foundational skills for success, and earn some credits. Last summer, nearly 200 credits were accrued between both programs at Cleveland High School. That's a pretty significant number. We're very proud of the work of our high school students and teachers. This summer, in the younger ages, we are doing Camp Raider 26 at Candies Creek Cherokee Elementary School. This is going to be the first summer that we're hosting pre-K through 4 under the same roof. So I want to make sure to say thank you to the school board for your investment in the expansion of the Candies Creek campus. That expansion has allowed us to bring all of these kids under one roof for our summer program. We're anticipating 25 summer classrooms happening at that site with instructional assistants. We have ESL newcomer programs. We'll have support for special populations. We'll have STEM classes. We have a dedicated school counselor, nurse, SRO, and a bilingual office staff member. We're going to continue our targeted phonics skills intervention time across grade levels. This summer, we want to put a greater emphasis on writing in conjunction with high-interest nonfiction text. That's going to be our curricular goal in the world of ELA this summer. We are also going to be leveraging intentional small group instruction. We already have smaller ratios in the summertime, and we're looking for strategic ways to leverage all of our staff to effectively do that 1-to-4, 1-to-5 ratio that we hear a lot about across the state right now. We're going to continue to have all the fun stuff as well. We have engaging STEM activities, physical activity for recess and team time, and it's going to be a great 16 days for the younger students. Our older students, our CMS champions, heroes versus villains, will be a smaller site at Cleveland Middle School, rising current 5th to 7th grade students. A smaller site with 10 classrooms, but all the other same supports are in place as well, including ESL newcomers, STEM, counselor, SRO. One of our major goals for the middle school program this summer is going to be laying the foundation for the next grade level with pre-teaching of specific focus standards. We're going to carry over that emphasis on writing in conjunction with high-interest nonfiction text and all the other fun stuff that goes into it. Because it is still summertime. Work hard, play hard, so the kids will show up. We want to make sure to thank our legislators for providing funding every year for these programs. It's a huge investment on the state's part, and we put every dollar to use.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moss. Any questions for Adam?
congratulations on your success last year.
Teachers and students did all the work. They did a great job.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next on the agenda, we have first reading of policies. I'll turn to Ms. Diamond and Ms. Riggins.
Yes, we have no policies for first read.
Thank you. As a result, we'll move on to our next agenda item, strategic plan focus.
All right, strategic plan focus is on communications tonight. As we mentioned earlier, the four components, one of those is communication. And so Brandy King is our communication specialist, and she's going to come and give us an update this evening.
Let me just adjust the mic here a little bit, a little shorter. But good evening, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you. I always look forward to chances to get to hang out with the Board of Education, because who wouldn't, right? You all are amazing, and you do such great work for all of us. We're so proud of what you do. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's happened since the last time I got to talk to you, which was last year, in the world of communications. And one of the questions I get pretty often is, what is it that you do exactly? So I wanted to show you not only the purpose and strategic focus, which you can see on the screen, but I also wanted to list out some of the core responsibilities and share with you some of the roles that you, or things that I do that you may not always see. And that goes between district storytelling and brand management to family communication systems, including talking points. We also have School Messenger, which is our broadcast system. I also enjoy media relations and our press releases, getting those out to our public to inform folks. Social media strategy and analytics, also very important to us. Website and digital content oversight is something that I also do. And you can read on graphic design and campaign development, board and leadership communication support when needed, crisis and operational messaging, podcast and video storytelling initiatives, and community partnerships and promotion. Those are some of the things that I do and that I enjoy doing for the board and for the community and for Cleveland City Schools at large. And now I wanted to share some numbers with you, because social media, as I'd mentioned, is a part of my role. And 4.7 million, that's a number that I wanted to share with you when it comes to our Meta Suite. We have a lot of total community touch points, which are views. And if you see the numbers, over 63,000 content interactions we've seen in the last year, excuse me, as well as a 20% growth in followers and a 7% increase, a little closer to 8% increase in page views overall. And then when you move to Talking Points, which is our two-way engagement platform that we introduced this past fall, the big number that you see there is 200,000. And I'm excited to share that this has gone across very well through the district, with 50,000 family messages in our peak month of August, 48,000 with our staff DMs in August. We've had 38,000 family messages in November. And I kind of put an asterisk beside 100% family reachability, which is true. We can reach any family with or without the app, but there is an opt-out feature, and we found that a couple of families have accidentally opted out, but we've been able to put them back on, so that's been a nice thing to do. And so what does this mean? This means over the past 12 months, Cleveland City Schools has exchanged more than 200,000 messages with families through Talking Points, demonstrating consistent two-way communication across the district. That's high visibility plus a responsiveness across the district that we can be proud of as we continue to work and to grow. I also wanted to show you just a snapshot of what's happening in the world of communication as well. And so if you look on the screen, you can also see our social media impact when it comes to just our daily posts. Recently, posts have reached 24,000 to nearly 39,000 viewers per post, and that was a recent dive that I did within the last 90 days. And you can imagine our high-performing content includes those weather delays or closures and school updates. Hiring announcements are also very popular. Student celebrations and community participation, when Dr. Raper and his wife sent us their picture over the snow break and allowed us to share that out, and families got to jump in and share their snow video pictures. It was a very engaging day that day. Again, people enjoy those video and human-centered stories consistently driving the engagement. And so that is what's happening if you were to look across our community and what people are really focusing in on. I'd also like to share that we have a lot of positive media stories that I don't just publish myself or online, that our story is being told beyond our own platforms. So I keep a manual list, and whenever we have a positive media story, whether it's a regional television story or it's a print or digital news feature, I like to log those. We have closer to 100, so this number is off, and I'm happy to share that with you. Student and staff recognition are very high. Academic and program highlights and facility and community growth seem to top those positive media stories. And if you see the pictures, you see Principal Bob Pritchard there giving an interview. He's always great to do things like that for me in a pinch. And then below, last week we were doing an interview at Cleveland High School on the Tango program. I also want to thank BCPEF for the donation for the Tango program, because they came, Channel 9 did specifically, to do an Amazing America focus on this particular program. And they're going to showcase this feature in about 2 weeks, and I'll let the board know when that feature is available. So we are being watched. And we're also doing other things to try and increase our district reach and our community engagement. And that's Inside the Shield, which is a podcast that Dr. Elliott came up with, and I thought that it was a very clever idea. It's a new platform for district storytelling and transparency. And what it does is it highlights our programs, our people, our progress, and provides support for the community and trust and engagement. So we had a really good time shooting at Cleveland High School, because that's where CHS Live lives, and that's the folks who help us, and we're very grateful for them as well. And we continue to want to navigate through videos and reaching people in ways that we haven't before. So we've also started spotlighting departments with reels and family messages. So we've tapped into innovation and technology and taking some time to really focus in on things like school nutrition, transportation, facilities and operations, student services, school safety, and academics. And Dr. Elliott also does very thoughtful family video messages like holidays and welcome back, and we enjoy seeing you back to school type of videos, so we're grateful for that. And the purpose, again, showing the people behind the work, building that trust, and meeting families where they are, and many of them, again, online. And so I will move to the next slide here. And this is what I'm really proud of. And I want to say just a big shout out to KJ Harris at Cleveland Middle School, because when we talk about our brand unity and operational excellence, those things are top tier. We always have to keep that in the back of our minds, that we need a unified approach and we need to be visible. And when you walk into a Cleveland City school, you need to know you're in a Cleveland City school. KJ Harris this year created these unified elementary school logos, and you'll soon be seeing those around town. And she did a fantastic job. And they're quite professional and create a cohesive look across our digital and print. So very proud of that. It also is aligned to our strategic goals too. And if you look also on the screen, our reliable district communications, as of last check, 888 completed school messenger broadcasts were sent out in our most recent log. That's when you send it out without it being a two-way communication. It's a one-way push to families. So you get those if there's an operational update. For instance, when we had the road work that was near E.L. Ross and Yates, and we had to send that out in a blanket message. Those types of Power School messages are what we're talking about. Those provide consistent, timely information across email, SMS, and phone. So the bottom line is, when it comes to communication, we work to be visible, responsive, and connected. And we're leaning on this data, and we're seeing a lot of strong engagement, some reach, and continued growth. But we can always do better, and we can always continue to grow, and that's my goal here. So as we flip to the next one, I promise you this is getting shorter. I'll be done here in just a moment. Our communications works directly to support the district priorities by increasing visibility, clarity, and connection across the district. And we do that with academic excellence, student services, workforce visibility, community engagement, and again, operational transparency. And as you look at the final slide here, I believe, it's our strategic implementation. So I wanted to give you a timeline with some KPIs and how we're linking our implementation of the unified district branding all the way down to standalone athletics communication platforms with our KPI indicators through 2030. And that is all I have. And I wonder if you have any questions. If you do, I'd be happy to answer them the best I can.
All right, thank you. Questions?
I don't have a question, but I wanted to say, just 2-3 years ago, I guess from me personally, heard several complaints about communication and the lack thereof. And it's been at least a year since I've heard nothing. And so that's a great testament to the work you've done and taking this to the next level. And we appreciate that as a board. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Brandy.
All right, next on the agenda, we have student representatives update. I'm going to turn to Ms. Hakes for student representative update.
All right. So again, as mentioned before, both boys and girls wrestling brought home another state title, both in the individual matches. And additionally, beyond that, Jose Cordero is the second male wrestler in Cleveland High School history to become a 4-time state champion, and he's the winningest wrestler. So I thought that was interesting. And as mentioned, for the girls that won are Easton, Senna, and Caroline, and then for the boys, it's Jose, Dominic, Helen, Braxton, and Gabe. And then earlier this month, or earlier in February, we celebrated the high school, or the basketball cheer and dance in both basketball teams. So they had their senior night last month. So the arts, Renaissance placed second at their first competition in Rome, Georgia. And then we also placed third at the Music City competition in Nashville just this past weekend, actually. And then with the theater, they attended the Tennessee All-State Theater event, with 3 of them being honored as All-State members: Ashlyn Brown, Renaya Turner, and Harper Nowlin. And then ATS The Bridge is participating in the Hug One project, which is a project benefiting children in foster care by providing a stuffed animal. So students are invited to bring a stuffed animal or a little toy to school and put it in that bin. It's located at the front of the school, and it runs through this week. This past Friday, we had our culture fair, so students got to present their projects that they made in their foreign language class, and they got to bring food, which, let me tell you, that food is really good. So that was really cool, and it was a big fundraiser for the foreign language department. And then DECA, as mentioned before, also went to compete in Chattanooga this weekend. And then sophomore Carter Castile is qualified for the Nationals later this year in Georgia. The winter dance was this past weekend at the Jones Center, hosted by and set up all by CHS Student Government. After it having to be moved like a whole month later, but we got it done and it was a lot of fun. So, okay, and then before that, I wanted to talk about the 2 girls that won. They wrote their own music and did their set up their own, composed their own music and all the things, and they got to win it, and they get to go to New York. My dream, to go see New York and to go see Hamilton. But they made their own music and they casted their own people in their class to go perform. So that was really cool. Sorry, that was just really fascinating to me finding that out. Anyway, I was also invited this month to go to the state school board meeting. So it was a virtual meeting with other members, student members of their boards of education across the state. And we have different topics each month, and we're also assisted by a member of the board. And this month we talked about AI and how it will impact the schools, impact the learning, how we'll implement it, what are the good and bad things about it. And then we talked also about voting on the graduation requirement, which is our discussion last month of whether students should be required to only take 1 foreign language class or 2, and then have the other one be another elective or something like that. So, any questions on that?
Just want to comment on that. We were at the State Board of Education on Wednesday of last week with our lead fellows, and they were bragging about, the State Board does have a student representative now at the state, and how she had reached out to several of our student members across the state to do online meetings, and Lily is a part of that. So I appreciate Lily representing Cleveland City Schools so well. Thank you.
And then some upcoming events, cheer and dance tryouts will be March 18th to the 20th, with a meeting on the 16th. And then Raider Palooza has been moved to March 17th from 5 to 7 p.m. for 8th graders to come and take a tour of the high school. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Have any questions or comments for Ms. Hakes? Thanks, Lily, for representing Cleveland High School so well. We're so glad you're here with us on a consistent basis. So thank you. All right, next on the agenda, we have facilities update, and I'm going to turn to Mr. Andy Lay, to talk about that.
Okay, thank you. So the Facilities Committee met last week, and we are bringing 3 recommendations to the full board for a vote. And the first recommendation is dealing with design services at Cleveland Middle School. The Facilities Committee recommends that the board authorize to execute a contract with Upland Design to provide programming and schematic design services for a potential addition to Cleveland Middle School at a cost not to exceed $35,000.
Mr. Lay, do you present this as a recommendation from the Facilities Committee?
Yes.
Board members, we have this statement that Mr. Andy Lay read here as a recommendation from the Facilities Committee. And as we've done in the past, this recommendation only needs a second. So I'd like to entertain a second.
Second.
Ms. Carolyn Ingram. So we have first and a second, or recommendation and a second. Ms. Wheeler, will you call the vote?
Okay. Carolyn Ingram,
Yes.
Andy Lay,
Yes.
Peggy Pesterfield,
Yes.
Jody Riggins,
Yes.
Nate Tucker,
Yes.
Renee Diamond,
Yes.
Matt Coleman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, second recommendation deals with Cleveland High School softball facility. The Facilities Committee recommends that the board decline the current proposal for the Cleveland High School softball facility due to cost considerations. The committee also recommends directing the administration to continue pursuing modified, lower-cost options, including a phased approach, and to bring those options back to the board for future consideration.
So we have a recommendation from the Facilities Committee. I'd like to entertain a second.
I'll second that.
Jody Riggins. Ms. Wheeler, call the vote.
Andy Lay,
Yes.
Peggy Pesterfield,
Yes.
Jody Riggins,
Yes.
Nate Tucker,
Yes.
Renee Diamond,
Yes.
Matt Coleman.
Yes.
Carolyn Ingram.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, third recommendation is interim use of the Valley Head Church property. The Facilities Committee recommends that the board authorize Dr. Elliott and his designee to seek and negotiate potential partnerships to rent the current Valley Head Church building for interim use until long-term plans for the property are developed.
All right, board, we have a recommendation from the Facilities Committee. I'd like to entertain a second.
I'll second.
Renee Diamond, second. Ms. Wheeler, call the vote.
Peggy Pesterfield,
Yes.
Jody Riggins,
Yes.
Nate Tucker,
Yes.
Renee Diamond,
Yes.
Matt Coleman. Carolyn Ingram,
Yes.
Andy Lay.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And just as a point of comment, just like these meetings, our Facility Committee meetings are open to the public. Next on the agenda, we have a legislative update, and we'll turn to Ms. Ingram.
I have put at your place a report from the TSBA on the policies or the bills that will be presented to the legislation sometime this year, or hopefully they will all be there. I know these are online for you, but these are the ones that TSBA voted to support when they come up. Now, I've been watching, if you watch TSBA online or Board Talk, this is where you will find out when these come up and how they vote on them, and if and when they reach the Senate for vote. Sometimes they never get out of committee, but if you you can get this online, and that's the two places is just TSBA or Board Talk, and that's where you can find out what happens to these bills that TSBA has voted to that they would like to see passed.
Thank you, Ms. Ingram. Do we have any questions or comments for Ms. Ingram?
I do have a comment. I was able to go to the Legal and Legislative Conference in Nashville with Ms. Ingram and Ms. Riggins, and I think that we have together, even at the November conference, put together a good position statement for our interest as board persons across the state. But I would also like to just share that I think it's mostly on Tuesdays at the Tennessee General Assembly page, you can watch the committees that are meeting, discussing things that are really outside the scope of our position statements. And I have been watching it since then, trying to really get a handle on what I can maybe share, through social media or with the board on some of these things. And it's pretty cumbersome. I don't have my process really down yet, but it is just very interesting to see the scope of bills that are being filed in education sphere. I think there are over 250 bills that have been filed. Some of those are caption bills, so we don't even know really what the contents of those are. But it's daunting, but it is worth our attention. And I just urge all of our educators to be watching, be learning, and be vigilant as we look at how some of these items are going to shake up public education, because they really do have the potential to cause more shakeup, and it's a concern. So just wanted to share that.
I want to say too, and I don't think I'm speaking out of line on this, I heard somewhere when I was in Nashville that when it comes to voting, public voting, that only about 30% of educators vote. And folks, that's how the bills get passed and how they get voted on. So when it's time to vote here, please, please vote. And principals, I'm going to ask you to say to your teachers, you don't have to let them know who you're voting for or who you're for, or it doesn't have to be any kind of partisan, but just remind teachers to vote, because it is so, so very important. And that's how, as you watch these bills come through, if we don't vote on the right legislators, then, we might as well just not spend any time with it. So it's, as I've been a part of this, of the legislator process with TSBA, I have just really learned so much about how these bills work, and it's important that teachers know what's going on, and when voting time comes, get out and vote. Is that out of line?
No, that's fine. And just for clarification or for informational purposes, the TSBA stands for Tennessee School Boards Association, and they represent the school boards across the state of Tennessee for those that are members. And so, in case anyone was wondering and they're hearing us talking about that, I just want to make sure that it's clear that that's what that means. So, other comment?
Well, I just wanted to make a comment that I have people ask me all the time, why aren't the schools teaching cursive writing anymore? Well, we do at Cleveland City Schools in the second grade. So if people ask you about that, please let them know that we are teaching cursive writing, and I think that is so important. And I see a lot of heads not nodding here about that. So please spread the word.
Thank you. All right, it is 6:29, and we'll consider this school board meeting adjourned.